Friday. TGIF. So glad you guys are here. I have a little bit of a cough. You know, I'm going to complain about these allergies forever because I mowed the lawn on Monday and I'm going to milk it for all it's worth. I sneezed 2 times this morning. OJ kept looking at me. I said, maybe I'm allergic to you. No, that's okay. I have been so excited to do this show. I know a few people messaged me yesterday and they said, what's going on? We don't have a show today. And I said, oh, because I had a friend in town. Yep, my friend Gina came over and she was here for a couple of days. And so I could not do the show yesterday. So we have 2 today. Are you not excited? Let's have a round of applause for old Brooks right now. Yeah. My lazy ass is doing 2 shows today. How about that? However, I did somewhat keep up with what's been going on with Sebastian's case. And it was a biggin. Whoa, was it a biggin. When his daddy said it's between justice and vengeance right now, I knew he'd had it. Now, he's been busy out searching for his son and trying to keep his job going. There is way more to this story than we ever imagined. And I hate to say this, I hate to say story. It's way more than a story. This is little Sebastian's life. This is what he dealt with on a day-to-day. I have a lot of things to say about it. For one, the press conference the other day fell on flat ears. I have a question for them. Do they mean there's no evidence of foul play, or do they not have any evidence? You see, there's a huge difference between no evidence of foul play and then flat out just not having any evidence. Huge difference. A lot of talk on the YouTube streets about polygraphs. If you have followed for more than a minute, you know I don't care about polygraphs. I just don't. They're not used in court. They're an investigative tool. I don't even know what the hell they ask them. You can fail a polygraph by being asked something like, do you feel guilty about this situation? And you say, well, no, I didn't do anything. No. Well, it's going to come, it's going to light up like a Christmas tree. Because, of course, if your son is missing, you're going to feel some guilt. As far as Chris Stinky Feet taking the polygraph, big whoop. It's been over a month. If they can place him out the house, they would have already asked him to do it. That's all I can say about that. And no, I'm not taking up for that sack of shit. We've had a lot of people calling out Seth the last couple of days for what he said on the channel Justin on TikTok. Woo! There used to be a soap opera on called As the World Turns. I call it As the Internet Turns, because you never know when you're going to go from hero to zero. Lots of accusations. Now, as far as the no foul play, they didn't just say there's no foul play. They said there's no evidence of foul play. That is exactly what they said. Not the same agency, not even the same state, but in the Quentin Simon case. They said, we have no evidence of foul play. Well, Quentin Simon's mama is in jail awaiting trial for the murder of Quentin Simon. When the Gannon Stout case first came out, they said, at this time, we have no evidence of foul play. Well, we know how that turned out for old Letitia. I think Seth is at his wit's end, and I think at this point he will say anything or do anything to get answers for his son. For the last month, we have seen a big old teddy bear. You know, you just want to hug him. You just want to pinch his cheeks. But now he's angry. And what he has dropped equals motive. For the last month, we've scratched our head saying, well, why on earth are they wanting gone? What could be going on? It's not a good look to have a child missing if you're trying to get custody of another child. There's something more going on. I can't say that it's Katie and Chris. Nothing they say lines up to me. Nothing. The truth has one shade, just one. It's one story. It's simple. Ask me what time I got out of bed this morning. I can easily tell you. I got out of bed around 4:30 this morning. I talked to Katie Bird for a little bit on the phone. Had some coffee. That story would not change because it's the truth. Let's take a second and tell our friend Misty Dew, thank you for making it rain. There we go. What a way to start a Friday. That's what I'm talking about. Southwest 4x4 Explorer says, is Brooks Eastern or Central? Central time. Central time. Just outside of Tulsa. Let's take a second and tell all of our friends, missed you yesterday. It's Friday. We have 2 shows we're going to be here for. We want justice for Sebastian, or at the least, answers. And welcome your neighbor. All right, in the press conference, they did say something about some glasses that were found, and they were found not too far away from the Bowersox home. Some people are alluding to them being planted there. Well, they're not Sebastian's. This is from Sumner County Sheriff's Office. Important announcement. Attention. We want to clarify that the eyeglasses recently found are not related to Sebastian Rogers. The search operation planned for today has been in the works for several days. We appreciate your cooperation and understanding. Easily explainable. They didn't gear up the last couple of days and go out and search again because of the glasses. They're saying we were already working on that. I don't know why anybody would just drop those glasses over there, but people do some weird things. Very, very weird things. This is Chris Proudfoot going back and forth several weeks ago with somebody on Facebook. Have you both taken polygraph tests? And if so, what were the results? Thank you. He said yes, and the results are passed. Well, we know he hasn't taken one. TBI didn't need him to take one because they don't believe he was in the area. I have my doubts. I have a lot of questions about that. My understanding is the only person that has actually taken a lie detector test was Katie. It's been over a month now. What would be the good in Chris taking it? Hell, I don't know. But the family seems to stand by one thing. Here is Melissa Nicole Proudfoot. She said, I'm so sick of people blaming me for the actions of a 15-year-old boy who left his house in the middle of the night. I stopped posting anything much on social media for this reason. I had nothing to do with anything, and yet people want to blame and harass me. The police office, when filing the report for my mailbox, asked if I posted on Facebook to see if anyone knows who owns this van, and that is what I've done. Just because we are not doing what you feel you would do, you feel the need to attack me on here. We have gone out and looked in the beginning, and we have handed out flyers, posted signs, and have followed all the rules the FBI, TBI, and SCSO has instructed us to do. We have all spoke to Ellie as well as granted any request that was made. People keep acting like the police aren't doing their job. In capitals, she says, they are. I'm not here to argue with anybody. You are allowed to have your opinions, but you can keep them to yourself. Okay, that's quite a rant. But I'm going to go back to the first couple of lines. I'm so sick of people blaming me for the actions of a 15-year-old boy who left his house in the middle of the night. There is absolutely no evidence to support your theory. None. He's not just a 15-year-old boy. He's your nephew. On top of that, this is the same woman that said he could have gotten someone's back seat and fallen asleep when they drove to work. If you have anything to do with Sebastian's disappearance, even guilty knowledge, the last thing you want is for the police to be doing their job. That's insane. So we have Chris's sister, Melissa, who's all kinds of ranting. Seth is fed up. Sebastian's daddy, he's fed up. And dun 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 dun, Katie Proudfoot bit back. Before I get to all of that, let's go through some comments from the last show. Sherry Dunn said the phone movement is how they knew every one of Murdaugh's movements when they were just on his own property. Agreed. Same with Morphew. So if this phone conversation between Katie and Chris had no phone movement, that should be easy for them to detect. She said she was in bed and she talked to Chris for 3 hours. My question is, did she really talk to Chris for 3 hours? It has been rumored and basically confirmed that the marriage was on the rocks and that she had a side pogo stick going. The guy has actually come out and admitted that he was laying the pipe to Katie. Lots of questions about that phone call. Delia Jones said same thoughts about the snake. Maybe it was taking too long to get the job done and they were sick of cleaning its cage, so they got rid of it and went a different route. That snake was large and large enough to suffocate him. There's no other reason for allowing him to handle that reptile. I agree, because he had a lot of snakes to take care of at one time. Now, according to Chris and according to Katie, they got rid of all the snakes. No snakes here. Nope, none. But we know they've lied before. We know they're not telling the truth about a lot of things. They can't be, because when a story changes, it's because someone's covering, someone's lying. Ken Howard said TBI and law enforcement have nothing now because they didn't bother to treat it like a crime scene. Now, if there was any evidence, it's gone. They do this in case after case after case after case. It's ridiculous incompetence, just like Summers' case. When this happens, they need to lock down the house and vehicles until every possible piece of evidence is recovered. Also, in regards to the trash truck, my trash truck doesn't look like a damn flashlight when it's dark. It has extra lights that are yellow and also flashing caution lights. I don't think it's a trash truck. I agree with you, Ken. The reason they don't have security in a $600,000 house is maybe because Katie didn't want Chris to see what was going on at the house if the boyfriend was coming over. What do you all think about that comment? There is a reason not to have security system going. You think old Chris Proudfoot isn't smart enough to say, hey, on my ADT map, it says that the door was opened at 11:23 p.m. Who was going outside or who was going in? No pun intended. Who was going in? We've heard recently about sleeping pills that Sebastian was recently put on. We've heard about the thud. We've heard a lot. We have heard a lot. The main question is why? Why? Was Sebastian going to say something about the gentleman visitors that were coming over to see his mama? I don't know. If she truly had a drinking problem or has one, was she abusive to Sebastian when she was too deep in the sauce? Many people have been looking at this picture. I don't believe that's a shadow. I see a bruise around his neck. This isn't photoshopped. This is straight from her Facebook. Does anyone else see some discoloration on little Sebastian's neck? I believe so. My issues with the Seth argument is that Seth wasn't anywhere around that night. If Seth has this explosive temper and has been abusive to Sebastian over the years, then hell be damned. But he's accounted for the night that Sebastian went missing. They have him on camera. where he worked. Who isn't accounted for is Chris Proudfoot. We know they're cooperating according to law enforcement. What is really going on here? What is really going on? One of my main questions about this case is common sense. If you get up in the morning, you can't find your child, why would you call your husband that's 3 hours away to help you find your child? It has been said that Sebastian is intimidated by Chris. It has been said that Sebastian didn't really get along with him. Yet he was very close with his father. He was excited to go live with him. They went fishing together all the time, all of this stuff. So if you are trying to get him out of the woods, or let's just figuratively speaking, wherever he's wandering around, wouldn't you want someone that he would come to as opposed to someone he's scared of? And I'm not going to discount, like some other channels, that Seth might have a temper problem. No, I'm not. Not at all. But he wasn't around that night. He's not part of Sebastian's disappearance. Why would you call the man that you're cheating on 3 hours away instead of calling 911, going door to door, and calling Seth to come help you find your son? And I have to ask this to Katie, if she's listening, and to Chris, if he's listening. Why would you even consider sending Sebastian to live full time with Seth? Out of your mouth, not mine, if he is abusive to Sebastian? Why would you? Why would you even think that's a good idea? And why now, with Sebastian missing, is it full reign to say things about Sebastian, which I don't think happened? Nobody in their right mind would do it. Nobody in their right mind. And there's nothing to back it up except for some allegations that were unfounded. Speaking of allegations that are unfounded, we have a new person on the front that has decided to be a missing persons advocate, the one and only Candace Wells. If you have ever followed the Summer Wells case, you know exactly who Can is. She put her 2 cents in regarding the case of Sebastian, particularly his parents. Yes, she's had a lot to say about parents of missing children. Yeah, this is our can, okay? It's going to take me a minute to get through this. Please listen. We may have to listen to it a couple of times for it to make sense.
Thank you guys. I do hope they find Summer. I know this is heartbreaking to see another child out there searching, and y'all still ain't got answers. It's going on 3 years, And I know it's heartbreaking to see all this stuff again. And I feel like the TBI is just repeating. Candace said, well, when they barely search and then get drunk and pretend nothing mattered.
Whoa, Nellie is right. This came straight from Can't. Well, when they can barely search and then they get drunk and pretend like nothing matters, then Can't's talking about Katie saying, I don't trust her. Can't also went into Daisy's chat when they were talking about the mother of Harmony Montgomery. And she goes, where's the mother? She goes, she should be in jail too. How in the hell did Daisy read that out without busting a gut laughing? I about fell off my damn couch when I read this. Look at it again. Thank you, Can't. And thank you, Whistle While You Lurk, for catching this.
Hey, thank you guys. I do hope they find Summer. I know this is heartbreaking to see another child out there searching and y'all still ain't got answers. It's going on 3 years. And I know it's heartbreaking to see all this stuff again. And I feel like the TBI is just repeating. Candace said, well, when they barely search and then get drunk and pretend nothing mattered.
Burley. Well, when they can barely search and then get drunk and pretend like nothing matters. I don't have all day for this. This is going to be a totally different show because the hypocrisy would drown you.
Oh, thank you, Dame. Thank you. God bless you, Dame. Thank you so much. Love you, Miss Daisy. Took a break. My heart is always with this channel. Love you too, Dame. Thank you. God bless you. If I have my cowbell, I'd ring it. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you so much. I've been down here lately, and that makes me feel so much better. Thank you so much because I just ain't been getting the views and stuff that I was, normally get, and I just kind of been down a little bit. But thank you so much for that.
And that was also a PSA. On top of Candace saying they can barely search and they get drunk like nothing matters, then Daisy segues it into, I'm not getting the views I used to be getting. All right, so we're going to put that to the side for right now. I actually needed that laugh. I needed that laugh. All right, I'm going to bring up our good friend, the real Slim Shady. She's barely awake, and she is wanting to talk about this case.
I'm Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady. All you other Slim Shadys are just imitating. So won't the real Slim Shady please stand?
Good morning, Slim.
Good morning. How are you? Hi, everybody.
So are you here or Burley here?
I am Burley here, but I got something for you. Well, I got it for Daisy. I'll do this for Daisy. You a dumbass. You a dumbass, motherfucker. Sorry.
I just cannot believe that she would point the finger at this family. And to be quite honest, I'm not taking up for any of them. I'm taking up for Sebastian. I want to know who is Candace, Can't, to say, oh, well, they're barely searching and just getting drunk. And I'm like, do you remember June of 2021? How about today?
Is that a little slippage of truth there of what actually happened up there on Ben Hill that Allie told us, God bless her soul, a long, long time ago?
Burley.
Mm-hmm. But that's like Keith Huff. I could hear him say buried all day long.
Mm-hmm. Goodness. I'm just like, really? Now, if I was Daisy, I would have skipped over that comment altogether. I would have pretended like I never saw it. I would have on the screen and talked about it. So
actually, we probably would have never caught it if she hadn't. So God bless Daisy and whatever happened there.
And pray for her views, right? Because she's like, I'm
No,
just not getting the views I used to get.
no, I'll let Whistle watch, and then she can fill me in. She does a really good job.
Because I can barely breathe after reading that, after seeing that. I was laughing so hard I was pissing down my leg. Let's get to some updates, and then we are going to talk about it. What all Seth put out the other night.
There's been an exhaustive search for Sebastian Rogers, but with few updates from authorities in recent weeks, some have wondered, is enough being done?
We're doing everything we can do. Every time a tip comes in, we follow up on it.
Eric Craddock is chief deputy with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, I believe him. I believe that the local guy is doing everything he can. He does not want his days consumed looking for a missing boy. He doesn't.
This looks really bad on their community. You're talking about $1 million homes. These are huge salaries, a lot of taxes that come in. And if this place gets well known for alien abducted child that we're supposed to believe with no shoes, then, you know, those homes will plummet. And well, you see what's going on in New York City. They'll have squatters.
I have a feeling this officer can barely sleep with all the phone calls, emails, and messages he gets.
You got the city manager, you got the mayor, you got the council members, you got representatives, senators, the governor. Yeah, he probably is. Yeah, poor fella. We'll pray for him, seriously. He's got a lot.
Now, it is no secret that Chris Proudfoot, his parents are very well known in that community. Very well known. But they're not going to stop the FBI and the TBI. They're not going to shut down an investigation. I am wanting to know what was so damn important in Alaska that they took off after Sebastian went missing and they drove. Supposedly, according to Miss Bowersox, she's like, we already had it planned. Here's the thing, but plans change every day. Contracts and plans were made to be broken. Sebastian didn't plan to disappear for over a month. As I said on the show the other day about Sebastian, I get really tired in these cases of people disappearing when you have a child missing in your family. The only plan you can't get out of, well, is death. And if you're strapped to a gurney for open heart surgery. What's Alaska about? Tell me what you think, Slim.
I really wholeheartedly believe the U.S. Marshals had eyes on him the whole time. So, you might have thought you snuck off and done something, but there were eyes on you. I know there was. I have no doubt. We know how law enforcement works. When you've got the FBI, the Secret Service, Homeland Security, I know we got opinions about TBI, but TBI, I don't care how corrupt your sheriff's department might be, if they are. I'm not saying they are. I don't know. But the U.S. Marshals aren't. And I just love Tommy Lee Jones.
Well, he's not a U.S. Marshal, but I like that movie too. Okay, Ramblin' Rome said TBI equals they burly investigate.
Yeah, a fatal paper cut, I think, is changing their name to a burly fatal paper cut.
Well, what I'm very confused about is them saying after a month, Sebastian hasn't knocked on one door saying, I need to call my dad. I need to call someone. What's he been eating? What's he been drinking? They said there's no evidence of foul play, but they don't have him. There is a huge difference between no evidence and no evidence of foul play. It seems to me at this point they don't have evidence.
Yeah, I don't think they have any evidence outside the home. And there's nothing inside the home. So Where would that evidence be? Somewhere between the steak shop and home? I don't know.
I don't know either.
You
And
know,
and TBI, they are investigating, but I can't make it more clear when we're talking about a case in Tennessee. It's not like in Texas where the Texas Rangers can come in and take over a case, or in Oklahoma where the OSBI can say, we got this. Y'all you don't have what you need to get this done. Tennessee Bureau of Investigation cannot. They have to be invited in, and they have to work in conjunction with them.
which it sounds like they have been, and they are, as well as we find out EquiSearch has been there, with their drones. So it sounds like the county sheriffs do have all hands on deck, and yeah.
And
My whole point is, if that boy to take that trash out, why isn't his feet print outside? Why isn't his feet print in the yard?
I don't know. I mean, how heavy, you have to be to actually make an imprint.
I mean for even the scent dogs. Like the scent dogs didn't pick him up anywhere in that grass.
And that's exactly right. They have not. I mean, they've picked up his scent because he lived there.
And dogs don't lie. Dogs don't lie. They just don't,
No.
And heads up the investigation. He sat down for an exclusive one-on-one to talk about what they do when there are few new leads.
I think in the absence of information, what we'll continue to do is go back over everything we've already done once, put a fresh set of eyes on it.
To that end, Craddock says searchers recently found a pair of glasses, which they are checking to see if they belong to Sebastian. He says the parents continue to fully cooperate. Any evidence of foul play?
We have not cleared anyone, but we have absolutely no evidence to support foul play.
Okay, he seems a little ticked off, probably because he keeps getting asked the same questions over and over. We have not cleared anyone, but we have no evidence of foul play. He kind of looks like the spokesman for OSBI. Are they brothers? What the hell's going on here? He looks like Colin Farrell.
He is easy on the eyes, isn't he? That's why we're going to say he's doing his job. We're going to think that this easy on the eyes hunk of love is doing his job. And he is probably tired of the Proudfoots going out there on all these news and saying, we've been vetted, we've been cleared. Vetted is that everybody's vetted. You wouldn't even be a United States citizen if you weren't vetted. You'd be in prison. You'd be a felon. Your rights are taken away at that point because you're unvetted. Vetted means crap.
For some reason, I just have a hard time believing Sebastian made it back home from when they left the restaurant. The last known capture of Sebastian is getting into the car at the restaurant. There's no video of him taking out the trash. All Seth has seen, because he was asking for what videos they have, was him him at the car. That's what he has. And if someone has anything else, send it over to me, because I've gone through it and I've gone through it and I've gone through it. Did they get into a fight on the way home and Sebastian jumped out?
I wonder about this because, okay, so our son had ADHD and we limited day events to only, if you had football practice, that's all he did that day, besides school and home. We didn't do multiple chain high energy events, the bowling alley, the, out to eat, the going to Costco, going to BJ's. That's a lot of stimulant for an autistic boy, don't you think?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I don't exactly know. I mean, what his level of excitement can be, so I couldn't say. I don't
I
think
don't
that when you talk about autism, I don't think it's a cookie cutter disease. And
I
it's
don't
not,
think so either, but I heard Seth say that when he does something with Sebastian, it's one thing, one event. We take a trip to the grocery store, that's our big outing. Or the next day we'll go fishing, that's our big outing. It's not a lot of stimuli, but I don't know. I don't have an autistic kid. I just have a ADHD child, or had. He's grown up now, but so I wonder about that because one parent was real. They gave him that social stimulant, but not a lot of it. And Katie, man, she was bouncing. But could that have been because she was bipolar in a bipolar swing? Isn't it said that she's bipolar or implied?
I've never heard that, so I don't know.
Oh,
There's a lot going on.
I
this is
asked
just
about
all in my
CCTV
opinion,
home
guys.
security video obtained from the neighborhood the night Sebastian disappeared. You can see two suspicious light sources, which we've circled here in an area behind the teen's home. Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said no evidentiary value.
It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why?
I'm just going to say this. I'm not calling anyone a liar. The TBI said to Seth that those two lights are from a trash truck. Ain't no way that's a trash truck. The lights are much further apart and they have different colored lights on there for caution. I mean, unless they have some old boy with a 87 Silverado picking up their trash, that's not a damn trash truck.
Yeah, the windows aren't far enough apart either to be Katie's bedrooms. The two lights up there on the left, if anything, that would be Faith's bedroom because her windows are closer together than the master bedroom's windows back here.
Oh, I don't think that these lights were coming from inside the house. These are lights outside. Either we're talking to flashlights or it's another car. I don't know.
I often wondered if it was the car turning around in the garage, moving Sebastian at night, but there's no garage windows. Her master bedroom's, I think, behind the garage.
And law enforcement has talked to the people that picked up the trash, but they're saying there's no evidentiary value. They're adamant about that.
And it was unusually heavy with what? Because if Sebastian had been in it, her cans have been swabbed.
Mm-hmm.
So we already know Sebastian wasn't in it. Look how quick they knew where Quentin went, once they found the can where she dumped him.
Well, they went to the landfill and they searched there for some reason, not an extensive search like they did with Quentin and other cases, but they did what they called a precautionary search. But you're not going to tell me that this was picked up, home security camera footage, and it's a trash truck. No. And some trash trucks come at 1 a.m, 2, 3, 4. To me, that's not odd. Mine has yellow lights, big old red brake lights, all that stuff. Those are too close together for it to be a trash truck.
It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No,
Why?
because the investigation remains ongoing.
And so it could play a role down the road depending on developments?
We don't know what we don't know.
Okay, so he says a mouthful here. I'm telling you right now, he's saying a mouthful because he says there's no evidentiary value. Nick Barris says, well, then, can you tell us what it is? If it's not a big deal, then tell us what it is. And he goes, we don't know what we don't know. Now, locals in their neighborhood on their Facebook community page talk about trash being picked up between like 6 and 7 a.m. Well, the sun's up. It wasn't daylight savings time at that time. Think about that. Time matters.
Time matters all the time. I mean, look at how screwed up Candace Wells has made her timeline.
Time matters in these cases. So you can't tell me if all of the neighbors are saying, or just the ones that are posting in the neighborhood community chat, they're saying trash picks up usually between 6 and 7 a.m. So they made a special trip by Sebastian's house the day he went missing? No.
Trash trucks weren't out there at that time, but we're not even to trust what time this was, right? Because that dude's DVR was stuck.
Again, you're going to have to explain what you're talking about.
Oh, that supposedly, wasn't Seth told that the DVR from the camera this was taken from was stuck on like 311 or 211 for 15 minutes of footage? So we're not like, I know it's daylight at 6. Trust me, I'm in Florida. My window faces where the sun rises. So 6 o'clock, I'm up. Boop. When we're not in daylight saving time.
Okay, so if it's stuck at 311, the question is, well, I guess we have to look into how they have their camera set, because this is definitely on nighttime. And if everybody else's trash is picked between 6 and 7, I don't know. And I don't see how digital clocks get stuck. I don't know what kind of line of bullshit we're feeding Seth saying it's a trash truck and it got stuck. It's not a DVR. It's Wi-Fi. That'd be like saying your cell phone got stuck at 9:48, and all day long when you look at your cell phone, it says it's 9:48 a.m. It doesn't work that way.
Maybe we're just getting like all these little tidbits of lies to see where the person who did what moves next. You know what I mean? Like cat and mouse.
Mm-hmm.
They could be using him as, a tool in their shed. I don't know. Or this stuff. But I do know that this cop later on says it has no evidentiary value as of right now. And I thought that was important.
As of right now. And also what is also important is because they're only going to tell Seth so much. They're only going to tell Katie and Chris so much because, well, they're speaking to YouTube, Nancy Grace, News Nation, local news. They don't want any of their case slipping out. Done.
Okay, so do you think Katie Proudfoot and Chris Proudfoot are talking to the police when it took Katie 11 days to come out after Sebastian went missing?
To come out to the media?
Yeah, to come out at all.
Oh, I'm always sketch about that. You have a missing child, I would be using every tool I could find.
I don't think they're calling the police. I think Seth is burning up the phone and they're aggravated at him, but so what? He should really, I told you this yesterday, I do not understand why he does not have a victim advocate at his side, helping him, assisting him.
Maybe he doesn't want one.
Well,
Maybe
too bad.
Maybe he's like, I'm going to do this on my own. I don't know. I don't know what resources they have available to him or why they don't. I mean, I know in the case of, Michael Vaughn, Brandy and Tyler were assigned a victim's advocate, like right off the bat. This is your person. This is your person. They started going around that victim's advocate and they would call detectives directly. And that's what it seems to me Seth is doing.
Right. Yeah, and he probably is.
So yes, it could play a role.
So many are, of course, closely following this case. How difficult has it been, all the noise on social media?
Oh, the rumor mill on social media has done nothing to advance this case.
Craddock says investigators continue to work the case daily and deal not with feelings, but facts and evidence.
There's no stone left unturned.
Nick Ferris, News Channel 5.
There's no stone left unturned. So whether people are calling in with what they've heard on YouTube, their own thoughts and theories, they're going through it. DT Driver, let's discuss this. He said, I still want to know why Seth wasn't notified his son was being abused. I want to know that as well. Because when he said, I think it was last week, he said, me being his father, I shouldn't have found out from a podcast that CPS was ever involved in Tennessee in my son's life. What do you think about that, Slim?
I think that when Bill Lee said that their CPS, DCF, whatever you want to call them, was a failure in Summers' case, it's a failure across the state, and they need to shut it down and fix it. This is ridiculous. You got 3 different states now. You got California, multiple things that went on there. You got whatever went on in New Mexico. You got now Tennessee. This is all across the board, though. I hate giving the federal government any authority over states whatsoever, but I don't know. They took it out of the church's hands. The states took over, and now our kids are disappearing. What is going on? Either give it back locally to the churches to take care of the children in their communities, or do better. Step up. You got these people make a good living. They endure a lot. Yes, it's a very, very hard job. It takes a sweet soul that knows Jesus, in my opinion, to work as a caseworker. It's very difficult. I couldn't do it.
Well, I mean, I have a pretty simple response to that. You don't want the government in your house, period.
No.
Unless you really need them.
And these kids seem to really need them, don't they? You got Harmony on the East Coast. You've got, through the middle of the country, all the children all the way to California, down to Texas, Florida. I agree with you. I'm against making a new federal agency because God only knows who would run it right now.
Well, and we have a separation of church and state, so we don't want everyone to be forced to worship the way the government wants you to worship.
True that. Amen.
And I feel like Seth, from what I saw on this Justin on TikTok, he is fed up. He is up to his brim in bullshit and lies. He knows he's been lied to. I have a feeling he's been bullied greatly by Chris Proudfoot. When I heard him say, you can't hold this over my head anymore. We're going to go through this slowly.
I'm gonna probably cry, but I want to say one thing. Seth is waking up to Chris Proudfoot, as Peter Hyatt said, being a controlled abuser. He's waking up that he's been controlled and abused by these people, and it's sad. And I want to thank Nina. I love you, Nina. I pray for you, and I want to thank you because your voice gave Seth a voice, which gives Sebastian a voice. Thank you, love.
Because it's just another piece of the puzzle to let everyone know this is probably what he was subjected to at home.
Poor baby.
In a previous interview, not with you, it was asked what medications Sebastian was on. And I'm going to ask you that right now, not to be nosy, but so that people can know. And there's 2 parts to this question. What medications was he on? And what does it mean if he does not have them right now?
He was on some medication for impulse control, for ADHD. He wasn't on anything for his autism. And he had 2 different types of medication that he was taking. And I want to say they just switched it, but I want to say it was like Guafaced or something that he was taking, and then he was taking another medication as well, and I can't remember the name of that, and they just put him on Risperidone or however you want to pronounce it. Try to get him to sleep at night.
Okay, I don't know enough about these medications to say anything. I will say this. When people were saying he doesn't have his medication, he doesn't have his medication. None of these are life-saving medications. I do know this much.
Yes, they're not. Um, your child can have holidays off these ADHD medicines. Now, with Sebastian's disability, that 6Q27, there could be possible heart defects, and that coming off quickly of ADHD can harm a heart also. So, I mean, you kind of got that worry there, but if there's no medical record or knowledge, and apparently there's not, or Seth would say it, of any of that going on with Sebastian, then I would think he could take holidays from his medicine if he wanted.
And let's just say, okay, we'll just play along with what the Proudfoot family, what their camp is saying, that he somehow got out of the house undetected, unsuspected, and got into some sort of medical issue. He would have been found.
Oh,
what
yeah.
does concern me is that this diagnosis was made in August of 2023. And now we have sleeping medicine on top of it.
Yeah,
How
that's
long have he been taking the sleeping medicine? I had to take, I didn't have to. I was prescribed sleeping medicine one time. I think it's called Soma, something like that. It had the opposite effect. My eyes looked like dinner plates. I was jittery. I couldn't do anything. I almost went to the emergency room waiting on it to wear off.
now I've taken Ambien, and I try to push myself to stay awake as long as I can, because there's that little floaty period before you finally crash.
Mhm.
And man, you're in such a fog. In my opinion, I was the next day. I sleeping pills would be harsh on a child, in my opinion. I've never had a child that didn't like to sleep, though. I mean, teenage boys would sleep till noon.
I didn't have a problem with him sleeping here. So I never really understood that. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but he just turned around and they removed his.
Okay, this is important before I get to the next part. He said he's never had any issues sleeping here. So why does he have to be medicated to sleep in their home?
Yeah, exactly. What's going on in their home? We know Chris isn't there. Well, he's not supposed to be there. He's supposedly at work for a month. It's really odd to me too. Seth was taken out of Sebastian's life the whole month of February. I wonder what her reasoning for doing that was. Was it the bruises on his neck? I don't know. I'm throwing out here. My opinion is speculation. Sorry.
No, you're fine. And I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, he wants to see his father, but the month of February he can't. And now we have this kind of weird, this sleeping disorder where his father is saying he never had an issue sleeping at my house. And also this whole thing that Chris can't come home because he works so far away. Look, he's not working in the middle of the damn ocean. He's 3 hours away. You get off work on Friday. You drive home. You leave out Sunday night or Monday morning. You got to be careful.
You know what our honeys would do, DT and Rick? They would throw a thumb up and get home, whatever it takes. They're not going to sleep at a camping ground. What the heck? I want to go home. I want my bed. I pay for my bed. I pay for my electric. I got a pool at home.
Hang on. Angel P is backstage, and we're going to talk about these medications.
Yes.
Hello, Angel P.
Good morning, Slim and Brooks and everybody. How's everybody doing on this beautiful Friday?
Woo, it is a pretty day outside, isn't it?
Good morning,
well, not
Angel.
here. Not here, it isn't really, but it's a beautiful day when we get to get up and put our feet on the floor, right?
That's right, baby.
How you doing, Slim?
I'm good. It's great to hear from you. I was telling Brooks yesterday, we got to get Angel P up here. We need the secretary. She's AWOL right now. But you
what medications was he talking about? I kind of missed that. Was it Risperidol?
I'm seeing in chat, Risperidol is a schizophrenia.
I'm going to go back and see. It's another thing that, again, I don't know this family, so I can't take up for either side. Seth has been the most outspoken, and it was news to him that his son was on these medications. He knew about the autism diagnosis in August, but when he was confused when he heard about the sleeping medicine, on another channel, and he said, well, he never had any issues sleeping at my house. So what's going on? So
that's very strange because he supposedly, visited with his dad every other weekend. So if he was really on that medication because he really needed it, in my opinion, they would have sent that with him. That's an antipsychotic medication. Now, that's what its classification is. It's one of the older ones. However, there are off-label usages, such as, I'll just tell you, Risperidol is frequently given to people that may need to be knocked down, for example. Let's say they're hyperactive or aggressive or agitated. We would give them that to sedate them or calm them down. I'm not sure why Sebastian would be taking that unless it was something that was substituted instead of parenting. And I'm sorry I said that, but that's what I said.
That's right, baby. And I have read a little bit about it. The doctor prescribed it, whatever.
Okay.
But if he truly went into some sort of like zombie mode, why would you keep him on it?
Exactly. Well, in my experience working with adolescents and adults, there are a lot of people, and I'm sorry to say this, and please don't take this personal, anybody, but there are a lot of people that put their kids on medications because they don't know how to parent them. And that's just the truth. People will come in and ask for ADHD medication or other types of medication. Now, the Risperidol does make people sleepy. So that could have been a reason to get him perhaps more settled for bed. But I'm really a little bit shocked that he was on that medication at his age.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just my opinion.
That's commonly prescribed for Alzheimer's patients.
Like to help them sleep at night.
Hang on, where'd Slim go?
I'm here.
She's away from her phone or something.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what else he says.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I know it's hard. Take your time.
Believe he's alive out there.
Yeah, I know you. Sorry, go ahead.
Just needs to be found. He needs to know that there are people in here, and I wish he would have told me. I wish he would have told me what was going on, because I wouldn't have let him go back there.
He might have been afraid to tell you because of what might have happened to him if he did. This is a man. Well, I'm gonna table the comment I was about to make. Let me.
Okay, and I'm going to make a comment because if he was on this heavy of medication and when he got home and was taking it, I don't think he would have been able to break out of the house and take off on this over a month long sojourn.
That's a very good point. I agree.
I agree 100%. I was saying that risperidol, like C-Care said, and this is true, it's prescribed mostly for people with sundowners, Alzheimer's, people who wander at night.
Yes, I've seen that too. That's right.
So it is really surprising to see a little boy on it that just turned 15. But a doctor did it.
Well, and I mean, from what I'm seeing in chat, it's actually not that uncommon. It's prescribed for 13 and over. We don't know the dosage. That's it. And some parents, they'll take any medication the doctors want to give the kids because they want to take it their damn selves.
Yeah, that's true.
Risperidol is one of the older antipsychotic medications too. I don't know. I just don't. I've never seen. I mean, we don't. Where I've worked, we never prescribed that for children and adolescents. But I mean, the doctor prescribed it. I'm not knocking the doctor, but people can go to the doctor and tell a story and then get medication for something they don't want to manage at home. I'll just say that.
Oh yeah, Florida was notorious for being a pill factory. They really cracked down on that. Now you got to have pain management specialists, and it's crazy because doctors were ill prescribing. That does happen. I'm not saying it happened here. I don't know. It's just really weird to me that a young boy's on it. I didn't know they did that.
I think my issue and my irritation and actually just flat out anger with this case is how much the father didn't know about what was going on with his son.
Absolutely. Well, we said that when this case first started, before Seth started opening up more, there was this very rigid, I could sense this very rigid boundary between the Proudfoots and Seth. And I don't know if that had to do with, just controlling behavior, but, like Chris would call Seth, not Katie. I don't know. And it seems like they were keeping a lot of secrets from people, and especially from his dad.
He was finding out about things on YouTube about his own child.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
I don't like it at all.
I don't think Seth should feel bad about sending Sebastian home, even though he didn't want to go. My grandchildren never want to leave my house, but they have to. You got to go home. We closed. We dry cleaner. They cry.
A little bit, and I'm going to ask you a question. And there's a reason. There's two reasons I'm asking you this question, and it's something that we've talked about. So, in a previous interview, not with you, it was asked what medications Sebastian was on. And I'm going to ask you that right now, not to be nosy, but so that people can know. And there's two parts to this question. What medications was he on? And what does it mean if he does not have them right now?
He was on some medication for impulse control, for ADHD. He wasn't on anything for his autism. And he had two different types of medication they was taking. And I want to say they just switched it. But I want to say it was like Guafacid or something that he was taking. And then he was taking another medication as well. And I can't remember the name of that. And they just put him on Risperidone, or however you want to pronounce it. Try to get him to sleep at night. I didn't have a problem with him sleeping here. So I never really understood that. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but he just turned around and they removed his tonsils because he had obstructive sleep apnea. So they were trying They were trying to get him to quote unquote sleep. But I remember as an infant, my son, and a newborn infant sleeps like 18 hours a day. My son slept maybe 4 hours. He's always been one that does not sleep, you know, that gets, there's just, medication doesn't always solve all the problems. Sometimes I think parents use medication against their kids because they just don't want to deal with it. I only worked part time until my divorce because I spent most of my time taking care of Sebastian. He's not perfect. Nobody is. But that doesn't mean he's a horrible person. It doesn't mean he was a horrible child. Had him set with a routine.
And God bless this, because when he says, there's a lot of things that are being said about the victim that I am not happy about.
Mm-hmm.
Do not know why Katie Proudfoot is sitting back and watching this and not standing up for her son. Chris
Mm-hmm.
could care less about. If he wasn't there, he wasn't there. Just like Seth wasn't there. Proven. Seth was not there. They could be the biggest pieces of shit on the planet. If they weren't there, they weren't there. But by God, no one is going to talk about my child that way. I can, but you're not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's being called a pedo, saying that Chris didn't want him around his daughter Faith because he would be inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is going to call my child any of those names. We got our friend Tiffany backstage.
Oh, goody.
Tiffany.
Good morning, good Friday morning to everybody. Look, Lottie, Dottie, and everybody. How y'all doing?
Tiffany, I love you, girl.
I love you more. Hey, sis.
Oh,
Who else on panel?
Hey, I'm up here, Tiff. It's good to see you or hear you.
Hey.
Slim.
Hey, baby. Listen, y'all know I'm in nursing school, but I can't let this go by. I guess about maybe 2:00. Brooks, I'll email you the other panel that I'll be on so I can say another prayer for with the search and everything for the weekend. But let me tell y'all something. My sis is everything to me. Brooks, you everything to me. I would be remiss if I did not come up and speak on this baby boy. I want you all to know that I have listened, I have talked, I have prayed. I have listened, I have talked, I have prayed with Seth, his grandparents, and I want to give a shout out to CJ Concepts. I've been following him, and he been boots on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday, while he was searching, he ran into Sebastian's grandparents. And so these are things that I heard with my own ears. Y'all know Tiff. I'm not gonna tell you nothing that I don't hear because I'm gonna say it's in my opinion.
Well,
But this
fill
is
us
not
in.
this is not my opinion. This is what I heard. Okay,
mm-hmm.
His grandparents have said that Seth they got investigators and things as they should.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been Seth. I'm not gonna say Seth. I'm not gonna say anybody's name, but I am gonna say Sebastian's step grandparents have been caught taking down. These are the people that's taking down the flyers. You got the proud.
Okay, so you're talking about on Chris's side of the family, right?
The Proudfoots, the Bauer
Oh, yeah.
side.
Okay.
It's on camera. It's on camera. And if Lord, something happens and we have to have a trial, it'll be brought out in trial. But this is not nothing that I done heard. I'm talking about from Sebastian's grandparents. And so that further already instills in me what I already knew. And we all know. Because you don't act that way when your baby or your grandbaby is missing. You don't act that way.
Mm-mm.
So Sebastian's flyers have been torn down and around town. They want everybody to go away. All of these things. But I am. Let me tell you something. I'm a believer. Everybody knows that, and I am the I am. That means the vengeance is His, says the Lord. We're gonna find Sebastian, but we
Amen.
only gonna find him when it's in God's will and God's time, because we don't know how He's working it out.
Yes,
Nope.
ma'am.
What we do know is we got a baby boy, and I'm 41, so he's a baby boy to me.
Mhm.
And everything that we've heard over the last month and a few weeks, we know that this baby wasn't treated right. He was disrespected. He was abused. He was
Picked on,
mistreated.
picked
He was
on.
picked on. He was bullied. His
Mm-hmm.
character was assassinated. And my thing again is, and I've spoke on this before, how dare y'all? So now it's y'all.
Mhm.
And I know that Christopher and Katie listens to this podcast. I mean, to Brooks's not podcast. This is her channel. Oh, sis, I'm going to tell you, I got facts. They watch you.
Ha!
They watch you. I don't know about the Bower Sox, but what I am telling you is, Tiff is telling you, the Proud Feet watch you.
Good. Bring it on.
So what I'm gonna say to Christopher, because I know he's watching. If he's not, he's gonna catch it in the replay. Listen to me. Time is winding up. And no matter how you bully, how you assassinate this baby's character, whatever you do, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. And so, in the name of Jesus, whatever kind of unwilling, what kind of evilness, whatever y'all have done to this baby, let me tell you something, it's going to be exposed. And the thing about it is, there's nothing you can do about it. So, my thing is this, Proudfoots, Katie, I'm disgusted. So as a woman, I'm not going to even acknowledge you. As a woman, Katie, I'm not going to even acknowledge you. As a mother, you disgust me. You disgust, because whatever happened, you know exactly what happened. That baby
Mm-hmm.
wasn't abducted. Nobody came into that house and took Sebastian away. Okay, let me tell you, I don't even believe that baby made it home.
I don't
After all of the extra. And if he's on autism and he's ADHD, why in the world would you take him from this place to that place in Walmart and be? You can't overstimulate him. You've
That's
already
right.
said he has meltdowns.
That's right. That's right.
So why in the world would you do them? And that tells me everything I need to know about you, Katie. Katie, I'm still addressing you. Katie, I'm still give me 1 second, Brooks. Katie, I'm still addressing you as a mother. How dare you? You exposed this baby to abuse. And I knew it. That's why he wears pull-ups, because he's right where he's supposed. Nothing is wrong with Sebastian. When a child is SA'd, they go back. They begin to have accidents out of nowhere.
That's
They
right.
begin to melt out of nowhere. What do you think happened to Harmony? Stop playing with me.
Mm-hmm.
Katie, I'm addressing you because I know you watch my sister's channel. It's been proven, baby. So you're watching, and if you're not watching right now, you're going to catch the replay. Katie, I'm addressing you. You disgust me. You know exactly what happened to your baby. And besides that, if you 18 and under, close your ears, you did it behind some dick. How dare you?
Amen.
And may the Lord above our creator, the divine, have mercy on y'all's evil soul. I'm logging back into class, Brooks. I love you, baby.
I love you. I just messaged her and I asked her if she was listening, and she's
she'll catch the replay. I promise you that.
Yep, she's active right now, and she just sent me a thumbs up.
I know she did. Listen, Tiff gonna tell Brooks everything. When I came on this channel and I said she watches you, sis, I have facts. And she only budge when Tiffany get on that ass. How dare you?
Mm-hmm.
And may God, Katie, Katie, I'm still addressing you. You disgust me. I love y'all. Bye bye.
Love you, Tiff.
Love you, Tiff.
Love you, Tiff. How about a big round of applause for our friend Tiffany? Okay, I'm going to drop the link if Katie wants to come up, and we are going to be nice as
Yeah.
we have on other shows. She is welcome to come up. I agree with AB. Just because a doctor suggests it doesn't mean you take it.
Yep.
You try everything else before you do it.
Yeah, like how about get rid of the sugar out of his diet? Because Katie's been saying he eats a lot of sugary snacks. Now, isn't that the first thing you back off on?
Well, who's been buying the damn food?
The snacky snacks. Katie at BJ's. Katie at Costco.
Yep.
Who's buying the food? It's like when parents talk about the way their kids dress. Who's buying the clothes? Who's buying the food? If all that's in there is a vegetable tray and filtered water, then that's what they're going to eat. But they would have locks on cabinets and things like that because he was eating too much.
Mm-hmm.
He sure didn't look like he was eating too much to me, although he is high energy. And kids with ADHD, it seems like they're very skinny. The medicine keeps the weight off of them, in my opinion, also.
Yes.
What it comes right down to, 15 years old, his weight, his height, he's basically my size.
Yep.
I'm 5'4". Now, I mean, I need to lose 20 pounds, but I'm 5'4". I'm 142 pounds because I took my toenail polish off today before I weighed. All right, every ounce counts. Listen, my ass is just not going to go missing. We're not talking about a little baby or a toddler that you can hide. Where is he?
Well, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just thinking, a lot of times people, I'm not going to mention a name, but I feel like perhaps somebody was trying to control the disease with authority, control, and this abusive spanking, if you know what I mean.
The belt whippings,
Yes.
the controlling of food, the making fun of him because he had a chocolate milk mustache, picking on him in puberty and stuff like that. And I do not believe autism is a disease, but I'm not a doctor. Chris Proudfoot said he had a disease. Well, you treat diseases.
Yes.
This whole thing is just ridiculous. The name calling, the dumbing him down, saying he lied all the time. He had issues at school. He would get too close to kids.
And humiliating him in front of other people all the time. It just makes me so mad. I better be quiet.
Oh no, go for it, girl.
It just makes me mad.
Take a shower.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Take a shower, lay down in bed, and he'd fall asleep in about an hour at the most. And we're talking about at like 5, 6 years old. It was all about a routine. And there's as soon as she filed for a divorce, first thing she did was take him to get him medicated. Now, not only is the child going through a divorce, because the children suffer the most through a divorce, because at some point in time they're going to be asked to choose sides. And that is horrible, to make a child choose between their mother and their father. I could never do that to my son. I was good with joint physical, joint legal custody.
The question is, who carries the insurance on Sebastian? This seems like a very, very small tidbit, but it's very important because there was something said about certain therapy needing done after Sebastian was SA'd by a 13-year-old. I understand therapy is expensive. Seth, working for the government, he's got good insurance. Chris Proudfoot, working for the union, has good insurance. Why wasn't the proper therapy given? I see Angela backstage. It says your devices are not connected. We have Slim back.
Well, you remember Seth said that he talked to the doctor, and the doctor was like, no, I didn't know about that, and he's not getting the right kind of therapy for something like that. If he's telling the truth, which I don't have any reason to think he's not, that speaks volumes as far as their parenting.
Okay, we've got Angela backstage. She's going to talk to us for a second. Hey, Angela, welcome.
Hey. How are y'all?
Good. I can barely hear you. What's going on?
Just wanted to say something really quick. I got raked through the coals yesterday because everybody was attacking Seth about what he came out and said about Sebastian. And I just want to say, as a mother who has lost a child, when you don't know where your child is, you will say anything to try and get answers. And yes, that's Sebastian's story to tell, but you know what? Sebastian's not here to tell his story. And Katie, honey, I'm not sure what is going on in your head, but I don't think I've seen you cry a single tear over your son. You need to be demanding and pleading for someone to tell you where your son is if you don't know where he is yourself. So that's all I had to say.
That's one of the things I have a problem with, is what's not being said. And what's not being said is there's a lack of concern by Chris and Katie both for what Sebastian could currently be going through.
Yeah.
What's that boy going through? Why don't you care? Seth cares.
And what if he came home? What if he came home and you're in Mississippi? Who does that? Who does that? Oh, yeah, Katie and Chris. Because you don't look for something where you know where it's at.
Exactly. And that's
He's
exactly
not missing to them. So. It's just
Love you,
hard.
Angela. Thank you.
All right, bye,
I'm
y'all.
so sorry, Angela.
Bye.
Bye.
I just love her.
Me too. Me too. Thank you, Angela. That's great. Thank you for sharing.
Because I believe that a child needs both his mother and his father. When she started putting him on medication after medication, this isn't doing enough. This isn't doing what I'm wanting. He's not going to sleep. He's bouncing over. Well, take him out. Take him swimming. Take him to the park and let him play. He's a child. He's got to have a way to get rid of all this energy. You can't just, go to work and then come home and expect him to, do what you want him to do. He's got to have an outlet for this stuff. He's growing. And medication isn't always,
Let's talk about
was
that.
just
His
an
social
uphill struggle.
support. the lack of social support Sebastian had at his mother's house, that is so imperative to his trauma healing from what he's been through. And she didn't supply that to him. She didn't go out to parks, and I bet Sebastian probably didn't even have a pool pass.
Probably not, but we do have to speak about the other side. Not that there's any sides, they should all be on the same side. This is what Katie is saying. She said, that child was not 13, and we did not allow my son to be abused. We contacted all authorities. My son received all the available help he could get. Multiple therapists involved. His doctor did know because he went to the doctor and got checked immediately. Seth was involved in his therapy as well. There is so many lies in this story, including him failing to mention where Seth got banned from the base for his violent tendencies, where at the time my son was seeing a psychiatrist and psychologist to help him with his trauma.
Sorry.
From Seth's abuse. So now she's flinging it back at Seth, is what she's doing. Trauma from Seth's abuse and the trauma from being assaulted by this child. Let me be clear. I think it is sickening that this man is airing my son's trauma online. Angel, do you believe it is part of Sebastian's story to bring up what happened to him?
Well, I think that Seth was using that as an example of something that was kept from him. I think, it's delicate personal information. But I think he's trying to, I don't know. I think that it's kind of part of the big picture of the trauma. I think he's trying to show all the trauma that he's been exposed to and how things were handled in his opinion and how he would have done things differently. That probably didn't answer the question.
Nope. It answered it perfectly. Again, it's just opinion, alleged. We're not working on the case.
Right.
So he's now saying that Seth was abusive to Sebastian. Well, then why was she going to hand Sebastian over to Seth?
See, I don't believe that. I don't believe this right here, what she's wrote. I don't know. That's just me. I don't believe her. She's had too many inconsistent stories since this happened. And like that video I suggested you watch yesterday, and it was pieced together so well. I heard a thud was added after she originally said he just wasn't there. And then there's been other pieces that she's added as she sees fit to make herself look better, in my opinion. I could be wrong. And if I've got egg on my face, I apologize. But there's just I feel something from Seth. My heart tugs when he talks about his son. I don't feel that with her. I don't feel that she took care of him the same way that Seth did.
Well, I'm going to throw another curveball at you because he says in this statement, let me be clear. That's how Chris Proudfoot talks. Oh,
yeah. Well, Katie's not allowed to talk to Seth. Chris has to do that, apparently. And that doesn't shock me. We all know who's running the show in that household, whether they're there all the time or not.
Mm-hmm.
This man will stop at nothing, as evidenced by Nina and the paperwork that was shown as proof on a different channel. Yeah, I don't believe it.
And I will say, me, myself, and I I would not have put this information out.
Right.
Reasoning is because it muddies the waters. And what happened to him when he was 8 years old, I don't see how it could be part of what's going on now. I think it is predicative of the lacks in the home for how Sebastian was treated. I wouldn't have brought it out. What I can see from Seth is he has been hit with a boulder
Mm-hmm.
and he has learned things that he did not know before.
Imagine that.
He's hearing these things on the internet. He's got people reaching out saying, I know this, I know this, I know that. It would have eventually come out regardless. I also think that Chris was holding it over his head.
Yep.
I honestly, what I see when I saw this interview with Chris, not with Chris, I'm so sorry, with Seth, is I see someone who is fed up and you're not going to hold anything over my head anymore. And I
That's
read
right.
this statement from Katie, and I'm like, you haven't posted anything about your son since
Mm-mm.
March 22nd.
That's right.
Today's April 5th. And what you do is you go after Seth? Why? She says, please stop the madness and focus on finding Sebastian because that's the most important thing. Then go find him, bitch.
Please stop taking your orders from your Christopher Proudfeet or whatever, Proudfoot, and be a mother and stand up for your child and stop letting him tell you what to do and what is best for him. He's not his father. Christopher Proudfoot is not his father. He has no right to discipline, to keep things from his father, to control the interactions that Katie has with Seth.
What are you doing? I mean, should I get you a table for two with Candace Wells? Do you all want to sit together and talk about what everyone else is not doing? The flyers are being taken down.
That's horrible.
News interviews are being refused to keep your son's name out there. If you truly believe he is alive and he is out there, then you're going to want all the help you can get. But shit, you didn't even knock from door to door looking for him. You called Chris Proudfoot in Memphis. I can't find Sebastian. Why didn't you call his daddy? He's closer. I would call my worst enemy if I needed help to find my child.
Mm-hmm.
But this whole he's so abusive, he's so abusive, he's so abusive. You and Chris said that when school is out, he's going to live with you.
That's right.
That can't make any sense.
Mm-mm.
He stood down. There was no need for it, all that. You know, that time I was before she did this, I was an armed security officer, worked in military housing. And they're like, we hear you have firearms inside. I was like, yeah, I have my pistol that I use when I'm at work, and then I have the other pistol that is used for work, because work issues your own pistol. And then I had my own, and they're like, where are they? And I told them they were on my desk. And they were like, but you have a child. Why do you have them on your desk? I was like, they're on my desk. You can go get them. 30 minutes later, they asked me to come and point out where they were on my desk. And I walked in and I showed them the secret little pop so that they would drop down so you could actually get them. And they took those, and I still never got my firearms back. That's California. But that was it. So I was hit with this. I turned around. was living in my car, trying to make ends meet, trying to make sure I had money to feed myself, which was, yeah, it was kind of, and he molested him. Katie let Katie and Chris let a child into their house that was 5 years older than my son. My son was 7 or 8 at the time, and this kid was 13. And she has a habit of not checking on her kid. I would never let some kid that's 5 years older than my son play with my son anyways. It's like, why do you want to play with my son? There's a 5 year difference. That's a pretty big difference. You're 13 and my son, you're a teenager. My son is not a teenager. He's still playing with Hot Wheels and Legos, and you know, he's building things, he's playing video games, and you're a teenager. You go out and you have your own, you know, age appropriate group that you play with, and they were letting this kid play with my son and they weren't checking on him. And then this kid took my son's innocence and he molested him.
Okay, I have to pause it right there because that made my face fall off. Again, I don't think I would have said it, but I can tell by his demeanor and the way he's acting, he is fed up.
Yes, and you heard him say she has a habit of not checking him. Hmm. Isn't that what happened the night that something happened? She didn't check him after hearing a thud. That makes no sense.
Mhm. What do you think, Slim?
This is this is hard for me. I feel for Seth, and if I was in Sebastian's shoes, I'd say, "Daddy, let it all rip, tell it all." And not because I am nosy, but not because of that, because telling it all will help find Sebastian.
Absolutely, because they said everything's on the table. It could be anything. And when it comes right down to it, I don't think I would have had the nerve to do this, but that's just me. I'm not blaming him. But it's odd to me that everything happens to Sebastian on Katie's watch.
That's right.
Yeah, I'd like to know when Sebastian had his face bit by a dog. Was that on Katie's watch also? Was that one of her dogs? He had to have 7 stitches in his face because he got bit by a dog, but he's not scared of dogs.
Right.
Because was that not checked and monitored and watched? You know, shame on you, Katie. Shame on you. Shame on Chris, too. Both of you, shame. You caused a man to tell something about his son that nobody should ever even fucking know. Because he thinks that it's going to get him found. And it honestly might trigger something in somebody that speaks up, and Sebastian will be found because people won't have these piece of shits backs anymore. You know, Chris Proudfoot said in an interview, "You see something, say something." And he said it so cocky. Well, Chris, we're YouTube. We found Gabby Petito. You really want to challenge YouTube this way?
Well, I mean, I didn't, and technically, YouTube really didn't. Somebody
No.
just be going through their camera and saw something suspicious.
Well, I don't care. I'm still going to threaten him with it. It happened all because of social media. Sorry.
So you take your time.
And there was nothing I could do in California because the kid was 13. But they let that happen. And they didn't bother to try to even get my son help until last year. Here, my son is just turned 15 in December. That means he's been dealing with an emotional, stressful, traumatic incident for the last 7 years. And I've been trying to help him. I've been trying to get him help.
I have too much to say about this. Now, California needs to change their laws.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
like Seth is saying, there was nothing he could do because the child that abused Sebastian was 13.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. I mean, this is the same state that wants to make pedophilia a mental illness. I'm not down with
Right.
it at all.
I'm not down with any of this. I don't care what age you are. If you got tendencies that float that way, there's help for you. There is help for you.
I can't say anything right now because my heart's broke for this man.
Same, baby.
Going to talk to his doctor and telling them what happened. And for the doctor to tell me, she was like, I knew none of this stuff. And I'm like, really? Because he's supposed to be seeing a therapist for this. And she's like, well, he's not seeing the right type of therapist for this type of trauma. I care about my son. And actions speak so much louder than words. And there's just no justification for the actions that I have seen from them. They're not parents. They're not parents at all. And I want to know what happened to my son.
Shit, if that doesn't hit you in the throat, I don't know what does. They're not parents. And I want to know what happened to my son.
And Seth is the only one saying that. What happened to my son? Katie's not asking that. Chris isn't asking that. Step grandparents aren't asking that. Chris's sisters aren't asking it. Chris's brother don't want a damn thing to do with him.
And I'm going to say something right now because we're here for the truth. Katie put a CPS report against Seth. After the investigation, it came back not mandated, but unfounded, meaning they couldn't find anything against the allegations. Again, I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't live with them. But I do know there is one person out there trying to find his son and taking all the help he can get. And it's not Katie and it's not Chris Proudfoot.
Taking flyers down. Have we not seen this before?
Yep.
You deserve to know what happened to your son. Every bit. And I'm sorry, I don't think any of us were aware of that. And I am so sorry that, number one, that he went through that, and two, that as a parent, you're going through a parent's worst nightmare, but that's like the second worst nightmare.
My son around his daughter. Because Chris has turned around into my mother told my mom, your grandson's a pedophile. No, he's not. He's a victim that hasn't got the help that he deserves and that he needs so that he can get over the traumatic incident that has happened to him.
Now, what do you think about Chris Proudfoot calling Sebastian a pedophile? And one of his reasonings for Sebastian going to live with his father, Seth, is because he said Faith is coming to live with him, which would be Chris Proudfoot's daughter. And he believed that Sebastian would or could be inappropriate, and I'm saying that lightly, with his daughter.
Well, I'll tell you right now what I was thinking about when you said that Katie had filed something against Seth. You know, I think she took a page out of Christopher's playbook because he did that with Nina, just trying to make a power move.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
Basically, what it comes down to, I agree 100% with two Boston moms. What has been spilled out the last couple of days is motive.
that's right.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right on, two Bostons.
Is motive.
Yeah, it's really odd that this happened prior to his daughter coming to live with him. And it's really odd that he didn't care very much for Sebastian, obviously. And now he's missing. And the key to that was he didn't want him around his daughter. Okay.
And this is how you're going to get her back, by having a missing child. Yeah.
Guess what? He's not going to get that daughter now, I don't think.
No.
And I want to know, what was Chris Proudfoot's grand plan to parent Faith when supposedly he's got such an important job? He's out of town weeks at a time. So you're going to have Katie do it?
Right.
How does that make any sense? You think that Nina's going to give up and just say, "Oh, that's fine. Katie can have her."
Katie, who doesn't know how to adjust her lifestyle to having a child.
I believe Katie was seeing Chris when she was still married to Seth, according to Seth.
Yeah, that kind of matches up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that belt whooping happened more than once. And I'm not 100% buying that the essay was from the 13-year-old. But I'm not going to say any more about that right now. Because when I heard the story, and I'll call it a story right here, about how Chris Proudfoot was making fun of Sebastian for his genitals, there is no reason to be looking at a teenager's private. They have an issue, you take them to the doctor.
Nope. I quit seeing our son's privates when I quit having to be in the bathroom, giving him a bath around the age of 5. I no longer had to see their privates. I'd every now and again have to help wipe them. Accidents happen, but that's, oh man, oh my God, why?
Well, Christopher was ordered to anger management classes as per legal documents after, while he was going through this thing with Nina. The thing with Seth was, what you just said earlier, it was thrown out. But he did have to take anger management classes. Just saying.
Wonder what the Navy has covered up in his past.
What do you mean?
Well, like if he's taking anger management outside the Navy, what was he like locked down on a boat?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't even gone down that rabbit hole yet. I'm just trying to stay like really, circled around Sebastian and this, tidal wave of insanity. I was going through some like old posts and everything from Nina Gomez. And around the time that he wanted her to have an abortion because he didn't want their child. And then he thought about it. Well, if it's a boy, I'll keep it. But see, Sebastian wasn't the boy he wanted. And then he said to her, why would you want a girl anyway? She's just going to lay down and get fucked like you.
Oh my God.
Oh my. And this is who's raising Sebastian. This is who has nothing to do, been vetted with Sebastian going missing.
Just damn sick.
That should have never happened underneath their watch to begin with. That's why Chris doesn't want my son around his daughter. Because he's scared that my son is going to do the same thing that was done to him under his watch. And Chris Proudfoot, if you're listening to this, you can't hold that over my head. I told you. You're going to piss me the fuck off, and I don't give a fuck who knows. It's your fault. It's your and your wife's fault. You guys don't deserve to be around kids.
And there's where I'm going to leave it until the next show about Sebastian. Because someone needs to check on Seth. Seth has been hit with a lot of information since his son has gone missing. A lot.
Yeah, I'm worried about him. He's been out there walking and not sleeping and tearing his feet up. His right shoulder's pulled out. He's overweight. He smokes a lot. I'm worried about him.
I'm worried about him too. And, if I can just take a minute, if you don't mind, Brooks. I'd like to let Seth know sometimes when you go through things in life, my greatest strength is the word of God. And I feel like you feel like it is too. And so choose a verse. Choose you today a verse that gives you strength from God, because he's got it there for you, Seth. My verse is Psalm 31. And do you mind if I read it, Brooks?
Please do, girlfriend.
In you, O Lord, I put all my trust. Let me never bring you shame. Deliver me into your righteousness. Bow down your ear to me, O Lord. Deliver me speedily. Be my rock of refuge, a fortress of defense to save me. For you are my rock and my fortress. Therefore, for your name's sake, lead me and guide me. Pull me out of the nets which they have secretly laid for me. For you alone are my strength. God bless you, Seth. Let God be your strength, your fortress, your tower to save you, your eyes, your ears. He's got you in this. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Because there is a lot going on here. It's not when Trevor started posting about Sebastian over a month ago, I was like, poor little guy, they'll find him. Then I realized poor little guy is 15. And then after a couple of days, they had no trace of him. I called Trevor and I'm like, Trevor, I understand you're covering this case. If you want me to jump in, I can. I said, but do you think there's any kind of foul play? And he goes, well, it's looking that way. The police have to tell us. The police do not have to tell us. They don't have to say a damn word.
No, they can lie.
Right.
They could do whatever they need to do to find Sebastian. They're not here for Seth. They're not here for Katie. They're not here for Chris. They're here for Sebastian. That's it.
Brooks, thank you so much for letting me come up, and thank you so much, Slim and Tiffany and
Thank you.
Angela. And
Well, in closing, before you get down, Angel, I just want to
yes,
ask,
ma'am.
I'm going to pick on you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Do you think the motive is for having Sebastian gone? Because I do not believe that he crawled out the window and he's just somewhere around the neighborhood.
I think it has something to do with Proudfoot's daughter coming to live with him. And also, if you look at those legal papers, I think Sebastian was a witness in the custody trial between him and Nina. That's what I think.
I think so too. What do you think, Slim?
I think there was a lot of altercations that led to a lot of escalations that have a lot to do with the history of Chris Proudfoot and Katie. But you know me, I believe Sebastian reached his fuck you point where he wasn't going to take it no more.
Let me say one more thing, too. The interesting thing is, according to Nina, when Sebastian went, something happened to Sebastian, he called her. Now, isn't that weird? They have all this tension between them and fighting over the daughter. Then if you look on the legal papers, there's all these things that have been postponed, rescheduled, yada, yada. And the dates are after Sebastian was missing.
Yep. Let's try this real quick. Put a 1 in the chat if you think Seth is a perfect parent. Put a 2 in if you think Seth is not a perfect parent. Because I can tell you right now, he's not. You know why? Because there's no such thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing. But I tell you what is really sickening is these false allegations, probably against each other, and holding a child over someone's head.
Mm-hmm.
It has been done with Sebastian. It has been done with Faith. And they're using the children as control.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want you to put a 1 in the chat if you plan to be at the next show. Because we have a show here in an hour about the 2 women missing in Oklahoma. And put a 2 if you're like, no, I'm not going to watch that. Forget it. But either way, I want to see you back here in an hour. And if I don't see you back here in an hour, I'll see you back on Monday or over the weekend. I want to say thank you so much to our friend Slim Shady, Angel P, Tiffany for coming up, Angela for coming up, and what is that noise? Slim, are you typing?
Oh, I am. I'm going to town telling everybody thank you. Sorry.
Boy, that's loud. Okay.
My bad. I probably sound like you when you're yelling at somebody in chat.
So what we'll do is I will see you back here in about an hour. If you miss it, and Brick goes, LOL. I was like, Brooks isn't commenting. No, I was like,
It's me. My bad. I'll stop. I love you guys. Thank you, Brooks. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Angela. What a great show. What a great way to dignify and cover this. Really, really thank you, Brooks.
Well, I'll see you in an hour, Miss Brooks and Slim.
Oh, yeah.
all right, no problem, you guys. I'm going to put the link in here for the next show. Come in because there's a lot of weird stuff going on with another case we're talking about. Sebastian deserved more than to be a pawn in some damn child support chess game. And that's where I'm going to leave it. You can take that to the bank.
We're out of here, Brooks.
We're out of
Love
here.
you guys. Later, taters.
Bye bye.